Good morning, everybody. This is Grant Sparks with the Grant Sparks Show, and this is episode 334. And I want to tell you what the homeless man's dream was. I encountered a homeless man this weekend, and he had a dream that I think you can learn from. And it's a little simple, but it's actually quite powerful. We're going to talk about that briefly, but I was going through my guru reading this morning. I got a fat stack here, and I'll show it to you. Why all of these guys are full of shit and what you can learn from them still in terms of writing your own goals, and not just writing our goals, but achieving goals. We don't need to write goals. I don't need another goal written. I need to achieve some big things. And we want to get over that hump from all the fake advice and see right through it and how to apply what they're really getting at so that you can achieve more, this and more on episode 334 of the Grant Sparks Show. Let's talk about it. We think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. James Allen wrote that in 1902 in his book, As a Man Thinketh, phenomenal book. We think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. You see, a lot of the gurus that we could read are giving us advice that seems to come out of nowhere. Now, before I jump into what Tony Robbins says and what Kevin Hall says and what Alex Hormozy says, before I get into that, I want to allude to a homeless man. I ordered a new shirt, a new t-shirt, and it says, "Tell me your dream." And I love asking people this question wherever I go. Tell me your dream. And it's better than, hey, what do you do for a living? Or how's the week going? And this innocuous thing where people are in these story loops. It stops them cold. And sometimes they have a great answer. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're embarrassed to answer when you ask them, what's your dream? I love asking people this question. I haven't had a shirt for this since I can remember. So I ordered a new shirt and it came in the mail. And I put it on and I thought, hey, I'm wearing the shirt. I got to go to the grocery store. Why don't I go ahead and just wear the shirt out? So I did. I was out of the house no more than about 6 or 7 minutes, got out of the car, was walking up to the grocery store, and I heard from across the parking lot, "I'll tell you my dream." And I entered a conversation with a homeless man very briefly, and I'll tell you about that at the end as my word of caution as it comes to goal setting. But for today, I was thinking about this question: how do you change? I had a great interaction with a young man. His name was Caden. He is a young man that I saw at the gym on Sunday morning. No one else was there. He was wearing a boot on his foot, but he was a fit young man. I asked him how old he was. He said 18. He was recording some video. I gave him some tips, and we began talking about small business. And he told me he had started 2 businesses, a power washing business and a car detailing business, and he was asking for advice. And then he asked me this question: how do you change? How do you become what you need to become to achieve what you want to achieve? Now, this was a very profound question from an 18-year-old. I have been doing goal coaching, personal development coaching, small business coaching now for nearly 20 years in a variety of ways. And very rarely does someone ask me, how do I change? How do I become something different? It's very intuitive because a lot of times people will say, how do I earn $1 million? How do I get those awesome muscles? How do I travel like you've traveled? How do I live abroad? But back of that is the real question. How do I change? How do you become what you need to become for your fitness goals? How do you become what you need to become for your travel goals? How do you become what you need to become for your financial goals and earning that money? Because the problem isn't access. The problem is you're not doing the right work. And you might even know the right work, but you're not doing that. You might not know the right work, but you know how to get the knowledge of the right work, and you're not doing that. The question is, are you going to change? Man, that hits between the eyes on a Monday morning. It's rainy out here and I'm loving the weather, and it's got me thinking deeply. You know, every different guru has a different approach to how to achieve more of your goals. Let's see who we've got. We've got Alex Hormozy right here. Alex Hormozy says, just do the work. Quit thinking about it. Quit writing goals. Just do the work. It's just a matter of the work. And you're like, well, okay, maybe I'll do that. Who else do we have? Kevin Hall, which I love Kevin Hall's work, Aspire. He says, if you just know the right magic words, know them and use the words, then you'll walk in the goals that you're trying to walk into. That's what Kevin Hall says. Gary Vaynerchuk even says, listen, it doesn't matter if you know how, just post. It doesn't matter if you're making it or not. Just post and you'll stumble into the right way. But like, what about fitness goals, nutrition goals, and relationship goals? That's like posting goals. And then we've got Tony Robbins, and I'm a fan of all of these people. But then Tony Robbins comes along and says, you just got to have to make a decision. Decisions determine destiny is what Tony Robbins says. He says you just make an irrevocable decision and you'll get there. You don't have to know how. But how do you even get to that point when you are willing and ready to commit to the goals that you have said to yourself in your quiet moments when you've wept at night and wondered how you're going to make it? When you've been in that situation, how do you get to the point? We think that weeping in the corner and praying at night is going to get us to change who we are, to make the decisions, to make the changes we need to change, to commit to the change we need to do to achieve our goals. We think that it's the tears. We think that it's the writing of the goals. And I have rarely seen the advice of the gurus help people change in a sustainable way. Yes, if you are Alex Hormozi and you do the work as Alex Hormozi says, if you do that, you will achieve the goals. Absolutely. If you are Kevin Hall, the author of Aspire, and you find these right words that synchronize with you and synchronize with other people and act on them, you will achieve your goals. Sure. If you're Gary Vaynerchuk and you're documenting the process and you're trying to figure the process out, and that's great, that takes a little bit of time to like record, and it takes a little time to edit that video. But if you do that and you're tracking your journey, you got to be honest with yourself, using it as a journal, then sure, you'll get there. And if, as Tony Robbins says, you make an irrevocable decision, a committed decision, and by committed in your heart, meaning under no circumstance will I not achieve this. If you do that, yes, if you do that, if you do all of those things, of course you're going to achieve your outcome. But how do you get to the brink of being willing to do those things? How do you get to the brink of what Alex Hormozi says? Just do the work. How do you get to the brink where you push yourself to make time in your schedule to go figure out what it takes and then go do it? And stay up late if you have to, or get up early if you have to. How do you get to that point? How do you get to the point, as Kevin Hall says, looking for these words that mean something to you? How do you carve out enough quiet time, enough study time so that words make an impact in your life? How, like Gary Vaynerchuk, do you make the time to edit the video, post the video, and also do the side hustle while doing the main hustle? How do you get to that point? How do you get to the point, like Tony Robbins says, where you make an irrevocable decision? How do you get there? Well, one of my favorite frameworks for any of this that has changed my life time and again, and when I ask myself this question in the quiet of the morning, when I ask myself this question when I'm up against a challenge or stuck between a rock and a hard place, when I'm stuck, I always come back to Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And his framework of be, do, have has changed my life dramatically. But be, do, have could frustrate you similarly. Be, do, have says you have to be it before you can do it. And before you do it, you need to do it before you can have it. You see, a lot of people have this backwards. A lot of people have it backwards. They think if I just had enough money, if I had enough money, I would then do the things that needs to be done, and then I would be that person. The example for fitness, let's say that you wanted visible abs. I just saw a beautiful photo of this woman who was gorgeous. She was in this gorgeous dress, and her abs were visible through the dress. Wow. Imagine wearing a dress that fits so well in a body that had shown the results of your work, that when you put that dress on, you could see your abs. It was a beautiful photo. Imagine this is your goal. You want to have visible abs. And in the back of your mind, you're saying, if I just had enough X, Y, and Z, time, energy, money, then I would do the things I need to do, show up at the gym, count my calories, have food prep, and then I would be a fit person. And the framework of be, do, have is a framework that strongly encourages people to flip this equation. It says to think again about what it is to be, And if you get this equation right, it will solve what these gurus are saying. But you could easily hear the be do have and ask yourself a similar question that you ask yourself when Alex Hormozy is giving you advice. And that question could be, yeah, but how do I get to the point where I be? Now, the thing I love about the be do have framework is that it's a principle, it's not advice. What most of the gurus are giving you is advice from their perspective. And guess what? That advice is true and it works because it worked for them. Doesn't mean it will work for you. It doesn't mean it will work for you. Jarrett Carpenter over on YouTube shouts out, good morning, my man. So how do you be? How do you answer this problem of what can I be? How can I be it? You can use this model to improve almost any area of your life, and you can circumvent why normal guru advice sucks. You can get around it because it's a principle that challenges you to actually be this thing in your mind. The quote that I read when I first opened the show was James Allen's quote. He thinks in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. And this is the last stanza in a poem that James Allen put in his book, As a Man Thinketh. So the question that stands between us and the results that every guru has for us, that frustrates us, that all the goal setting talk frustrates us so much, is the principle of be, do, have. So the question is how can I be? If you are, and how does this apply? The goal is to have those visible abs. And those visible abs only come because those are the result. Those are what you want to have. Then you need to, in principle, be a person worthy of visible abs. Be a fitness person first. And only then will you do the things a fitness person does. And only then will you have the results of a fitness person like visible abs. The same with your money. Well, Grant, if I just had enough time or energy or cash, I could invest that. And in investing that, then I would do the things an investor does, and then I would be an investor. And we do not conscientiously acknowledge that this is what we're thinking, but quite often it is. So, Grant, the real question still stands. How? Exactly how do you get to the point where you are a thing before you have it? How do you get there? How do you get to the point where you are willing to commit? As Tony Robbins says, commit. How do you get there? Well, I'm here to tell you a few quick points on this, and I will give you the exact only formula. This is the only formula you will ever need in achieving your goals. So a few quick principles on this. Pain versus pleasure. We are pain-driven beings. We have what's called a set norm. Basically, our thermostat in our body derives nearly all of our human psychology. And what I mean is this. The thermostat in your brain, the hypothalamus, is a part of your brain that regulates temperature. And if you get too hot, you start panting and sweating. If you get too cold, you start shivering. It's deviation mechanism. Basically, it's deviation from a set norm. And if you have a thermostat in your house and you set it to 70 degrees or 72 degrees, that thermostat kicks on a series of things. Our very positive psychology, our very goal-setting psychology is aligned with this in our physiology. We think it's all existential, but it's not. What that means as it comes to goal setting is that we do not take action unless we're off a set norm. We don't take action unless something's wrong. Marissa Wildleaf did not move to North Carolina until something was wrong enough, and she took action. Most all of us are operating on a pain mechanism. We will not make a change until the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of changing, because it hurts to change. To become a person with visible abs, it hurts to become that person. You have to put your brain into a state where you're recording all your calories, and that's annoying. You have to make room and push things aside to do meal prep, and that sucks. And so until the pain of staying the same, overweight, not having abs, being out of condition, until that hurts more, we generally won't change. We are pain-based beings. So we can try to work against this. We could try to focus on pleasure, a vision of radical clarity of all the goodness in your life. And this does come into play, but the pleasure itself is not the mechanism that will get you to the point where you will become who you need to become. So the first thing is understanding the principle of pain versus pleasure. We are pain-based beings, and we could fight it a little bit, or we could use pleasure against pain and play one against the other. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. Number two, the second principle is have a radically clear vision of the positive outcome you want. Now, some people, they only focus on the negative outcome. And here's the catch-22 paradox. If you have a radically clear vision of what could go wrong, it might create some pain psychology that will work in your favor, but more often than not, you will attract that thing. Because remember, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And quite often we've experienced failure, frustration, and pain, and we continue to attract that. So there's a paradox here. We have to create a vision of pleasure, but we have to use that to create a low-key, small psychological pain to get us to move towards our goal. Discover your why. So this is the third point I want to make real quick before I give you the formula. The third point is you have to know your why. Quite often as humans, whether we want to admit it or not, we are not selfish. I know that sounds off the cuff, but a lot of people I know are not selfish. They're actually quite selfless. And by that, I mean this. They will not take massive action unless it benefits somebody else. Most people have a derogatory view of themselves. They're self-sabotaging in a variety of ways. They have poor self-talk, or they're just accustomed to a certain way of life, and they don't have enough ambition to take on the challenges just because they want to. But if their kids come into play, if their nieces and nephews come into play, if an underdog comes into play, why do you think we love underdog stories? Because it motivates us. Someone in your life becoming that fulcrum, having a why around that can often help you give you the mental acuity, the psychological leverage to take action and actually start becoming what you need to become in order to do what you need to do. Having a very strong why, a very strong reason you are taking massive action is supremely important. So what is this formula? I did not come up with this formula. This formula is not my own. Where is this formula from? This formula is from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It was the six-step formula to riches. Do you know it? I hope you do. And if you don't, I'm here to share it with you. The six-step formula is this, and I will show you mine. I actually have it up on the screen. I will share my screen and show you my exact six-step formula. And this will come up on YouTube. It won't come up on Instagram like we want necessarily. Actually, I can put it on Instagram. The six-step formula is this. You write down an exact outcome you want. Now, saying I have visible abs is not an exact outcome. Maybe labeling a body fat percentage or a body weight that you're looking for, or dimensions of your biceps, your chest, your butt, whatever it is you're working on, having an exact number. This needs to be a number. If it's not a number, it's not defined enough. So if you want visible abs, roughly what's that body weight percentage? 19. Jarrett says, I've got a call I've got to hop onto, but 100% agree. So many people only get healthy for others and not themselves. And I believe you need to do it for yourself. But if you can't and you still don't have the mental power to do it for yourself yet, it's easy to look at someone you love and say, I'm going to stick around for them. I'm going to get healthy for my grandkids. I'm going to get healthy for them. And then as you cultivate those wins with yourself, you start to build trust with yourself and value yourself. You can eventually do these things for yourself. But it's okay to use psychological leverage if you need to. So the six-step formula, number one, an exact outcome you want. What is the weight you want? What is the body fat you want? What is the finances you want in the bank? What's the money you want in the bank? What's the money you want to be earning monthly? Write that exact amount down. Number two, this is critical. Write down what you are willing to sacrifice. Hold up. Whoa. Most goal-setting gurus do not tell you this. You must write down what you will give in exchange for your goal. Is it time? If you're used to waking up and dragging your butt in the morning, drinking coffee on the porch, but you really want to get fit and you really want to build a morning habit, you need to write down, I will give up and eliminate from my life my morning coffee on the porch. Vice versa. Maybe you've been working out your whole life and you hit your goals, and now you just want to sit on the porch and drink coffee. I will give up in return my morning workouts. You need to write down what you are willing to give in return. If you cannot describe what you are willing to give in return, you are not committed and will not be committed to your goal. Write down, be willing to write down what you are willing to give in return. My time, I'm willing to give an hour every morning. I am willing to give $100 a month to that investment. As it comes to abs, I am willing to invest an extra $100 a month in supplements, another $30 a month for a gym membership. I'm willing to invest an extra hour and a half in the morning to a committed program, whatever that is. Write what you are willing to give in return. This should create a little bit of psychological pain. This should be challenging for you. You should be frustrated as you think through this. The third thing, write an exact deadline. Mine is often on May 14th or on November 17th. Those are my dates. May 15th, November 17th. If I have big goals, they can usually take about 6 months, and those are roughly 6 months apart. And I alternate. If I don't hit the goal by that one date, I set the goal for the next date, especially as it comes around finances or health and fitness. But what is your date? Next month by the 1st. Next month by the 31st. What is that deadline for that goal? So you've written an exact outcome. You've written what you've given in return. And now you're going to write the exact deadline. Even if you have a monthly income goal, you have to obtain that or achieve that by a certain date. What is that date? The fourth thing, a definite plan of attack. Write down what your plan of attack is. I'm going to go to GNC every Monday or every Saturday and buy these supplements. I'm going to go to the gym every day, in my case, from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., give or take, or maybe it's in the afternoon for you. I'm also going to jog in the afternoons, and I'm going to give you my real example that got me to my fitness level. And I have a strong before and after you go see on my Instagram. 5 years ago, I'm going to post another one from 2 or 3 years ago, and my befores and afters on my transformation. That exact goal, what's the exact plan of attack? And I'm going to share mine. So the fourth thing is, what is your plan of attack? I'm going to sacrifice this. I'm going to adjust this. And then the fifth thing is to summarize the entire thing. Basically, my goal is to achieve X, Y, and Z. In return, I will do X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. I will do it by this deadline, and I will do it with these steps. Your summary. And then the sixth thing, and again, this is from Think and Grow Rich, and this is foolproof. If you do this, I guarantee you will achieve your goal. Guarantee it. If not, I will pay you $100 if you can prove to me that you've done these steps. And the sixth step is this: repeat it out loud, your summary. Repeat your summary out loud twice a day. Now, I'm actually going to share my screen right now because I guarantee this. Here, let's look. Boom. You can see this on the screen. I weigh 205 pounds. I do this myself. And let me show you on Instagram. Boom. Let me show you on Instagram right here. I weigh 205 pounds by March 15th. That's coming up, 2025. Because I love people, to be bold in my leadership of my teams, to be motivating to my audiences. There's my why: to feel limber and strong and energetic every moment of the day and confident in every business or personal situation. I am so happy, grateful, and full of joy. Now that I maintain a healthy, strong, and limber 205 pounds by March 15, 2025, by intermittent fasting or eating a healthy 2,200 calories or less a day, 6 days a week, by stretching daily, running or walking 6 days a week, doing shortcut to shred, CrossFit, or weightlifting 6 days a week, choosing vegetables, fats, and proteins for snacks, tracking calories, and getting a full night's rest. I see Nicole's clappy hands. And then you can see down here, repeat twice a day. And it's taken me 84 times. I have tried to repeat this 84 times, which is twice a day. In this case, the last 40 days. I do this every single day. Every day. How do I stop sharing? There we go. I share that with you because I take my own medicine. I have another financial goal with similar outline. This is the Think and Grow Rich 6-step formula to guaranteed achieving your goals. I guarantee it. If you write down exactly what you want numerically, what you're willing to give in return, a deadline, and you can see I peppered mine with my why. I peppered mine with my dream. I peppered mine with why I feel so good about it. And then I summarize this in a clear, concise statement, and then I read it twice a day. And I have it come up in my Google Keep. You probably saw there's a little notification. Twice a day, this pops up in Google Keep, and I read it out loud. I'm going to achieve my goals. My goals of $15,000 a month net to me. That means my company's taken care of, my employees are taken care of, my investments are taken care of. All that, it's defined in my Google Keep note. I pull it up and I repeat it twice a day. Now, let's get back to how to be. This formula right here, if you do this, you will both create pain and pleasure for yourself and leverage yourself psychologically. The pain and pleasure is this. The pleasure first is this. The pleasure is you will describe a positive outcome and you're ingraining that in your brain. You would have spent the time it takes to research what it takes to get there. You got a good action plan. There's no reason to not start. You have a positive vision of how it's going to make you feel and what you're going to chase down. And then you're going to say it twice a day. And as you say it twice a day, it's going to become part of you. You're going to memorize it. Keep reading it out loud, even if you're memorizing it. Keep reading it out loud. And as you read this out loud, you're going to become a strong desire is going to become strong in you. Your desire is going to build up in you. It's going to strengthen and you're going to want this thing more and more. And then you're going to have psychological pain. You're going to start to get frustrated. And your frustration is this. Your frustration is this. I should be able to do this. Why aren't I? I should be able to achieve this. Why have I not done this? Most people who are weak-minded quit right then. Most people are weak-minded when that psychological pain, the avoidant people, which is most everyone, avoid psychological pain. So as you repeat this thing twice a day, it's going to create a psychological pain and most of you will quit. And I present for your consideration, be the 1% that does not quit. Be the 1% that reads the plan and says, doggone it, I'm going to do this today. Damn it, I am going to make this change today. And this is how you be. Because as you make this psychological shift, as you shift from someone who talks about doing it to someone who actually does it, you will then begin to do the things that type of person does. And you will begin to then have the rewards that type of person has. You'll begin to have property in multiple locations. You'll begin to have visible abs through that outfit. You will begin to have money in the bank. You will begin to travel, but only if you have a clear enough vision that makes you happy and repeating it often enough to see you don't have it so you become unhappy because you don't have the goal. And that creates the psychological leverage to leap into action and to achieve your goals. I guarantee this works. Why? Because I've done it multiple times. And when I'm not achieving what I want to achieve, it's because I'm not doing this. And as soon as I get back to this, I get back on track and I see results nearly immediately. I want this for you. I want positive outcomes for you. I want you to listen to the gurus. I listen to the gurus, but I want you to have the context and the framework on how to put what they're advising you to test and put it to work. And how you do that is the Think and Grow Rich 6-Step Formula to Riches by Napoleon Hill that I just shared. Go watch the replay. Why am I talking about any of this? Because the world needs your passion, your power, your creativity, your strength, your joy, your encouragement. It needs more of what you have, and you think you can't achieve it because you lack time, energy, or money. And I'm here to tell you that you have the formula right now. You have the ability to commit, just like Tony Robbins says, right now. You have the ability to obtain knowledge on any topic because of freaking AI. You have everything you need, and all you lack is the psychological leverage and the vision of yourself and the clarity of goals. And I have given you that formula today. Why am I talking about any of this? Because you need it, and I need it, and we need it. So go take action on this today, and I guarantee, and if you do this and it doesn't work, I will pay you $100 myself. And you have to prove that you've walked this out. I believe it so much in my core that you will never call me for that $100 unless you quit first. I'm talking about any of this because the world needs more of what you have. And I'm going to get about that today. Remember the mission, igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.